38% of Gen Z and millennials, we're going to shove those two generations together, think that it's harder to build wealth than for their parents. So let's start right out of the gate. When you hear that, are they right? Are they wrong? Why?
So I'm going to give you a yes and no answer.
Okay.
Yes, it's harder. Harder to buy a house. First-time buyer's house, they're 38 years of age. I bought my first home at 22, and it was easier. It was easier because of the down payment requirements. It was easier because of the context of value. So it's harder in that regard. It's easier in regards to the environment of the market. The market is far bigger than it's ever been. It's easier to make it now, personally, than ever before. Work ethic is not quite what it was. People are looking for the quick, and we have the stats to back it up right there. Their online gambling is 3-1 in that age group for investing. Now, those are the people, if they invest, they make a fortune. But, and they do it over the long haul. But they want the quick fix. So they're long on the Lakers tonight.
Yeah.
As opposed to long on QQQ.
Yeah.
So they're missing out on that part. I also think a touch of entitlement and a little bit weaker work ethic. I think we're right now, younger people are suffering from parents that took a lot of adversity away. And when they get an environment like this, like to me, like I tell my kids all the time, I got 6 kids in that age group. And I go, find something you love, get real good at it, and then beat the bushes, and you will win. You will win because the competition's not as strong as it used to be. Yeah. And there's a lot more capital available than there ever was.
All right, so there's 2 things here. So harder to buy a house,
yeah,
but easier to actually make money.
Yes.
So if someone's listening, watching this, and they're in that age group, and they're going, this guy's talking out of both sides of his mouth here. Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but if it is easier to gain wealth, in other words, make more money, then this feels like the hurdle to buying the house is patience, which you touched on.
Yeah.
So I want to stay there. What do you think is culturally happening to drive all this quick fix, shortcut mentality? Because that's what it is.
Well, if you're asking me, I'll just give you my theory, right? So I'm a dad, and I have a coaching company, so I'll just give you what I think I know. All right, if that's all right. I grew up from the generation, my parents were like, there wasn't a lot of warm fuzzies. It was, get on with it. I brought you into this world. I'll take you out and make another one look just like you. That was my dad's affirmation. And he did. He had 6 kids. He could have replaced me easily. And so I would kid that with my kids, but not mean it, right? So I think we come from generations past that were tough, the greatest generation, the baby boomers, whatever, didn't express it, didn't have a therapist, maybe not all the skills they needed. And then they produce kids that are like, hey, the Gen Xers, I want to make sure I'm in touch with my kids' needs and so on and so forth. And so you and I are people who've become who we are because of the adversities we've faced in our life. And then the tendency is to remove all that adversity from the kids. And so that's the dynamic. And so the real deal is this. Okay, honey, you can be a star and you can be present, you can be this, and we've pumped up our kids, and rightly so. But there's a price to pay. Like there's a cost to pay.
Yeah.
My kids have watched me as an entrepreneur put it on the line to this day. Like they know this hasn't come easy, and it still doesn't come easy. Yeah. I'm still out here grinding and getting it done. So my kids have watched me. Yeah. Dave Ramsey's still out here he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
So I think you have to leave that example. You have to not take adversity away from them. They have to push the barbell themselves. And when they do, just like all workouts, you feel better afterwards.
Yeah.
Let your kids go through some adversity, fight through it, be there with them, in the journey with them.
Yeah.
And then fight through, and they develop muscles.